Joining us now as we kick off the show, hope you're all having a tremendous Friday, the athletic director at Utah State University, Diana Sabau, kind enough to carve out a few moments for us. Diana, how are you?
Hi, thanks so very much. I really appreciate your time.
Well, we appreciate yours, and it's been certainly an eventful last couple months for you. Let's just get right into it. Talk about the process and how you came to the conclusion in which you and the administrators at Utah State felt like you needed to make a change at the head coaching position and some key figures inside that athletic department.
Sure thing. Thanks, Scotty. First, I really just want to appreciate Aggie Nation, how they've stepped up and shown so much support in our community to our student athletes, and we really appreciate it because we've had some tough weeks. And this past Saturday, with the passing of Andre Seldon, really was a moment of pause for our young student athletes, and we've all come together. And getting through this adversity is going to make us all tougher, going to make us all lean in a little bit more on each other. So with the decisions, our employment decisions, obviously, at this time, it's ongoing personnel matters. And so I don't want to get into some specifics, but what I do most specifically want to talk about today is the timeline. It's really important for me to express that I inherited these events that happened in April of 2023. The independent investigation was commissioned in July of 2023, and I didn't start on campus and at Utah State until August of 2023. So any inference that or assertion that this independent review was part of an agenda is false, and it's really, truly easily disproven with the facts of the timeline. Obviously, once the university received the findings from this independent investigation, university leadership gathered together, and with the Board of Trustees, these decisions were made to uphold our university values and policies, to create a culture of accountability and transparency, and to move forward strongly.
So, Diana, where do we go from here? I know that there's some litigation, and I know that there are some things coming down, but what is the next step for you in this athletic program?
We're moving forward strongly. Our staff is confident as we own our jobs, as we carry out our responsibilities and impact our student athletes' lives, as we create toolboxes for success with our young people. We have a lot to achieve. The runway is long, and we're really excited to leap into the fall. We've got our student athletes coming back in women's soccer on Monday. Our football team reports to camp on the 1st of August, and we're really looking forward to achieving great things.
This is certainly never an easy thing to do, and it certainly is not an easy thing to do in July when you've got camp starting and a season starting, and you make a change at leadership at the head coaching position for your football team. Talk a little bit about your decision to go with Nate Dreiling, the interim coach who was just hired a few months ago. That was, it didn't appear like you wasted any time in realizing that he was the guy that you wanted to, at least for this season, hand the reins over to.
Yeah, I appreciate your earlier call out, Scotty. I just want to address that for a moment. I believe you are aware, and I'd like to share with our fans that the Department of Justice has been involved with Utah State since 2020 because of cases involving football players. So these decisions were made in moving the university forward with transparency and accountability. And I am the last athletics director in the country who would want to make a change with their head football coach in July. The timing, you're right, it's not ideal. And so looking at our talent, looking at our coaches, Nate scored out real highly. He is very relevant to our locker room and to our student athletes. He has a connective factor with our young men, which was really essential. Our coaching staff rallies behind Nate. They have embraced his interim role, and it's really exciting to see how they've all come together. They've leaned into each other. They're getting through this arm in arm. I was just part of their football staff coaches meeting yesterday morning, and it's just great to see them come together as a coaching staff.
So, Diana, was it your decision to bring in Troy Morrell as the associate head coach and Dave Weimers as the senior defensive analyst, or was that something that Coach Dreiling did?
Yeah, Coach and I talked about that for a bit of time. We wanted to make sure it's important from my perspective that we give Nate the tools he needs to be most successful as a defensive-minded coach, and as his role was to be the defensive coordinator. We really just wanted to add some assets to our offensive side of the ball. Kyle Cefalo does a fantastic job with our young men, and we're confident in his skill sets and his new responsibilities that he'll have this fall. But definitely those two additions will truly firm up our coaching staff, connect a few more chains in the linkage, and just provide our student athletes with more tools for success.
You touched on it briefly, but I wanted to allow you to have a moment. And again, I know there's things you can say and there's things you can't say, so feel free to comment on what you can and refrain from what you can't. But if there's a faction of Aggie fans out there that think that this is you with a I don't know, agenda may not be the right word, but something along those lines, to clean house and to rework this athletic department into what you want it to be, and using this as an opportunity to do that, what is your message to that fan base?
Sure. These are really hard decisions, and sometimes good people make bad choices and make bad decisions. With the Department of Justice involvement at Utah State, with the events that I inherited, this independent investigation was commissioned before I arrived on campus. There is no agenda. When you look at the timeline, you realize that that's false. Truly, once the results of this, the findings, were produced to the institution, actions had to be taken. And it's hard. It's hard for the institution to understand. It's hard for the community to understand. But if we do not move forward accountable, if we do not move forward with transparent reporting policies in accordance with Utah State, in accordance with the state of Utah and the federal government, then we will continue to fail our student athletes, our university, and our community. We have an obligation to address these appropriately. And sexual misconduct, including domestic violence, is part of our Utah State policy. And we have to, Scotty, uphold with integrity the findings of this investigation.
Diana, have you made hires in those positions? The associate athletic director and the other position that was let go outside of the head coaching position?
No, we have not.
So those are just currently open opportunities?
Correct. We're assessing our leadership team right now, our executive team. We're looking at the talent that we have within. We want consistency, and then we'll look to next steps in the upcoming days and weeks.
In terms of hiring a new head football coach, what's your timeline? Obviously, Coach Dreiling is going to be given an opportunity to prove himself, but in terms of how you want to proceed with the timeline in trying to secure another head coach, whether it be Nate Dreiling or somebody else, how is that process going to proceed?
Look, this locker room is coming together, and they believe. So why not USU? Why not believe? Nate knows what he needs to accomplish. Our team knows what we need to accomplish. It's about progress. It's about coming together. Of course, it's about the wins. We want to be the top in the Mountain West Conference. We think we have a lot of potential. We know we have a lot of talent. And so we're really looking forward to the 31st and our home opener. We're looking forward to September 14th. And we'll assess the season as it moves forward. And then if we need to have a cadence of a national search, we'll certainly launch that after the season.
Is this something where Coach Dreiling knows if his performance is up to standard, this could be, or this might be, or is his job?
Yes, absolutely. He does know that. We've had those conversations.
Diana Sabau, athletic director at Utah State University, joining us right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. And again, I know that there's things you can say and can't say, but I do think there are a lot of people out there that are curious to see the findings of that investigation. Will those be made public at some point, or is that an opportunity for people down the line to be able to see what went on in that that independent investigation?
The reports and the findings of this investigation have already been released publicly. And so through the public records process, the grandma process, they are out there with the media and with individuals in the public. I think it's really important, though, as we move forward, just to talk about all the positive that we have going on right now in Logan and with our student athletes. I mean, yes, we've had some hard times, but it is a resilient community. Our student athletes are excited to take on this fall. Let's not forget, we have our very own Shari Hawkins going to compete in the Olympics. I mean, that's a really proud Aggie moment that we're all looking forward to celebrating. With football season about to kick off, we've sold the most football season tickets since 2018. So our community is continuing to back our Aggies, and we're so thankful and so excited for that.
So when you, there's never a, how should I say this? Not a athletic director for dummies book on how to handle situations like this. And what has this been like for you personally to go through something like this and have to go through and deal with the Department of Justice and Board of Trustees and things along these lines that, frankly, a lot of people don't sign up for when they become an athletic director?
Well, like I said earlier, Scotty, I didn't know this was happening. I didn't know this investigation was happening until I arrived on campus. Yeah. So I inherited these problems or these challenges, these opportunities. I look forward to changing the culture so that we can be accountable and that we will follow university policies and procedures. You have to lead from the front and you have to do what is right. And I believe this is what we are doing with these employment decisions. I believe in our university leadership. I appreciate the individuals that want to do what is right in our board of trustees and our university leadership and our community leadership. I realize that these are very tough decisions and these are people's lives and their careers, but we cannot continue to be Utah State with pride and conviction if we do not take action on the findings of this independent review. I think if life didn't have challenges, it would be too easy. And I'm looking for some great success this fall from our student athletes. I'm looking for some wins. I appreciate every time someone from the community comes up and just is excited about our student athletes because it's truly about our student athletes. We need to focus on our student athletes. They are the cornerstone of all of our decisions, and we need to make sure that we're providing them with a toolbox to be most successful academically, competitively, and as they're building their future path too. So, yes, it's been challenging. I welcome the challenge. I love being part of this Utah University community, and I'm really excited for the future.
After taking the job, how quickly did you find out that this investigation was ongoing?
I found out pretty soon upon arriving to campus. Yep.
When you look at what you've got going on this year with the football team, with the other fall sports going on, volleyball certainly has had tremendous success over the last couple of years. Women's soccer has had tremendous success as well. There's a certain element and a standard that has been established at Utah State over the last several years. Even, look, when I was a student at Utah State, it was pretty miserable for football. Now a bad year is 500 and still going to a bowl game, which is something that, 15, 20 years ago would have been unheard of. So there is a standard to uphold there. What do you feel like as an athletic director that you can continue to do to make sure that standard resumes as high as it has been in all these sports across the board going forward? Because these are good times. I mean, obviously, these last few weeks have been tough and some things that you've had to work on. But overall, on the field, there's been a high standard set. What needs to happen to make sure that continues on in the future?
Utah State needs to continue to invest in comprehensive excellence. We need to make sure that all of our student athletes have a remarkable experience. We need to make sure that we're providing them the nutrition, the travel, the academic support that allows them to be the best person that they can be. we need to make sure that we give our coaches the resources so they can recruit young men and women of high character so that they can be good stewards in our community and achieve success academically. It's a complex equation right now with NIL, with the transfer portal, with our collective efforts. And so we couldn't do it without the fantastic support of Aggie Nation, without our donors, without our investors, and without all of those people that our brand and being an Aggie means so much to.
So, Diana, you had mentioned the passing of Andre Selden. I'm just curious if there are going to be plans put in place to recognize his name or his number or something in his honor throughout the season at any point?
Yeah, so last night we had a very touching memorial service that myself, the president, Andre Selden's father and grandfather, our coaching staff, student athletes from all of our programs attended in Maverick Stadium. We had a fantastic memorial, very touching on the field. I don't think there was a dry eye in Maverick Stadium. We had framed jerseys and graphic content on the video board. We had bagpipes and doves. It was really emotional, very touching. You know, a lot of our student athletes, they're so young and so impressionable, and they haven't experienced death in their life. So it causes pause, causes us all to come together and be a bit stronger together as teams and as a department. And with respect to his family, we're still working out those details. They hadn't experienced an Aggie game or Aggie Nation yet since this was going to be his first season with us. So we want to be respectful and do it the right way.
It's just such a horrific story and such a blow emotionally for this football team. What kind of resources can you provide to help out? Because from a mental health standpoint, that I can't imagine as a teammate trying to go through something like that.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. It's tragic beyond what words can truly capture. And we spent time with university resources, with our CARES professionals, with our SAVE professionals, with our Sorensen Center, with our football team Sunday morning, with our women's gymnastics team Sunday morning. We had an additional session on Sunday for grief counseling and those units on campus for staff and faculty and our coaches, as well as student athletes in the afternoon. We brought everyone back together on Monday for some time of fellowship and just to be together. So we're continuing this past week each day to provide resources and make sure our student athletes who need them, no matter what form that may be, that we have them available and ready. I'm so thankful to our great university support system because everyone has really come together strong and really leaned into this tragic event because, as I said, it's really hard. And it's not something that a lot of them have experienced. And then to have it happen to your peer or to your teammate, to a colleague that you've interacted with, it comes with an additional impact. So thank you for that thoughtfulness.
Diana, I know you can't wait for actually football games to be played. How fired up are you for the season, and what are you expecting from this football team this year? Yeah,
we cannot wait to have that first kickoff take place on August 31st. And, we have a talented group of young men. We have a locker room full of leaders this year. And like I said earlier, they really believe. And so why not us? Why not USU? We should all believe in this team. I think this is an extra rallying cry. Teams that are player-led are often the most successful, and teams that go through some adversity, come out a lot of times surprising a lot of people with their contributions and their output. So I am very hopeful and very positive that this is going to be a fun season, that this will be a successful season. And I really think our community will continue to be surprised by our team has worked hard in our workouts even before camp starts on August 1st. So they're ready. And it's going to be real exciting.
Diana, there's some amazing men on that staff, as you well know, and I'm sure that their futures are a concern to them. Have you spoke with the assistant staff that remained on staff? Have you spoke with them individually or raised their confidence?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm proud that they all are all in, and they are very invested in our student athletes, that they believe through a spring ball and through these workouts that this is what they're here to do, and they're ready to make our young men most successful. And in some instances, this gives an opportunity to some people that they haven't had. and they're ready for that. They're excited for the challenge, and there's a little bit, there's some different energy about this team and this coaching staff now that we're really, really embracing.
Well, Diana, we appreciate your time. Thanks for joining us. Look forward to many more conversations throughout the college football season as you were kind enough to join us on the pregame show throughout the season. Look forward to continuing that as well. But let's get some actual football games going. Can't wait to actually talk football. So let's go.
Thanks, guys. We really appreciate it. Can't wait to see you in Logan. Let's go, Aggies.
Here you go. Diana Sabau, Athletic Director at Utah State, right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Again, a lot of things going down in Logan where she essentially, Jerry Bovee, Amy Crosby, Austin Albrecht, Blake Anderson, all dismissed from their positions.
And currently,
based on, and as she mentioned, based on the findings of an independent investigation.